What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Say More. We are on episode 13, and the song that we will be exploring this episode is 2023's My Man. Now, if you are not new to the series, you may recognize the title from episode 3, where we explored the original 2018 version of this same song. But now, 5 years later, there's an updated version out there that I am very excited to explore, especially some of the sonic elements. So we won't be getting too much more into the lyrical elements, so I encourage you, if you have not seen the third episode, to pause, watch that one, and come on back to hear the updated version of this song. I don't want to talk too much more because I want to get the song set up for us to listen to. This is the first time in a little bit that I've listened to it, but I'm excited to talk a little bit more about the elements of it, what makes it different from that 2018 original. So I hope you enjoy My Man, this newer, updated version of the song. Let's take a listen. My man, he ain't my man at all. My man, he ain't my man at all. Though his hands are wide and he's mighty tall, my man, he ain't my man at all. He sits real pretty and smells like daisies, soft as a kitty, but not as lazy. Tongue so sharp, it drives me crazy. Directors could call him Scorsese. My man, he ain't my man at all. My man, he ain't my man at all. Don't you know he ain't mine? Though his shoes are large and his ego tall, my man, ain't my man at all. No. Opens doors when he wants and pays when he's got it. Seldom likes to flaunt except to prove that he's got it. Wide at the hip, it ain't hard to spot it. Sensitive trigger, watch out for the shots. My man, he ain't my man at all. It's my man. He ain't my man. He ain't my man at all. If I were springtime, he would be fall. He ain't my man at all. One more time. My man, he ain't mine. No, he ain't my man at all. Say my man, he ain't mine. Don't you know he ain't my man? Don't you know he ain't my man? No. And before the song is through, don't you know that we will be too? My man, he ain't my man at all. No. Yes. So that was the 2013 version of My Man. Vastly different from the 2018 version of the same song. So, a few things that I want to shout out. First of all, I am so excited to hear this newer version of the song for a few reasons, and those reasons are the collaborations and the folks that I got to bring in, folks that are very special, near and dear to my heart that I got to bring in. So hearing this is like hearing all of that, like care for the art, care for myself, and my care for these folks. And I want to shout those folks out. On bass is my late dear friend Yeho Bostic, playing bass on this. On guitar is my friend and relative Zen Paltry playing guitar. I was able to pull him in, which was so special, being able to like work with him and pull in his awesome guitar licks here and there. Similar to the 2018 version, I still play some instruments on this. So for instance, the trumpet that you hear, that is still myself. Different trumpet parts than what I did in the 2018 version. And the organ as well. That was me back in the studio playing the organ and the trumpet. And of course, background vocals, lead vocals, that's all me as well. That should be somewhat obvious. And then I want to shout out my co-producer Marty Gottlieb Hollis for hopping on this, talking through like what it is we wanted to do sonically different with this and helping me bring it to life. So those are some of the folks right away that I'm like, oh man, I was just so honored to be able to bring them in on this project. Okay, let's talk more about what's going on sonically. So the 2018 version, as far as the production elements, it's pretty bare. And generally speaking, I don't mind bare production, but I knew going into this version of it that I wanted to like beef it up just a little bit and also give it kind of a different flavor. So this one has a little bit more of a funk kind of element included in it. And so you could hear that in the organ, you could hear that with the bass, you can hear that with so many different elements that are going on. You could hear that with the drum pattern that we used. And so this one, I would say right off the bat, it's kind of a more, I don't want to say lively, but it's certainly got a lot more of that like motion going on in the 2018 version of things. I knew that I wanted to do something different with my vocals as well. Back in episode 3, where we talked about the 2018 version of My Man, one of the things that I commented on is, oh, I think I'm a different singer now. And so over the course of 5 years, I think most artists and most singers would say, like, I, to a certain extent, am a different singer. So I knew that I wanted to showcase my vocals a little bit more and in different ways. And I feel that I can hear that not just in the lead vocals, but what I'm doing with the ad-libs, and there's some very silly, you probably have to like listen to it closely in headphones, but there's like some silly kind of chipmunk kind of interactions, almost like I'm across the table from a good friend of mine talking about this guy. And so some of the things there are just like, why not? Let's just put it in. This song is very cheeky. It's meant to be very cheeky. So I wanted to add that kind of element to it. So you do hear me doing some different stuff with my vocals, both the upfront vocals as well as like the background and kind of ad-lib things that are going on. So that's something that I was like, yes. That's absolutely the element. I want to feel like this song and this version of it is like a little more playful, and I think we did that very successfully. You could probably hear the ways that Marty in their production had the opportunity to like have my vocals fall back a little bit on the verses and then come forward a little bit in the hook. So that's something that the two of us talked about a little bit. It's like, how can we differentiate between hook and verse with the vocals? And so that's one way we decided to do that, having it hang back just slightly in the verse and then having it more forward in the hook. So I really enjoy hearing the vocal production that's going on, vastly different from the 2018 version where there's really no differentiation in my vocals. So we really like took that to the oomph degree this time around, which is so exciting to hear. By the time I pulled Zen and Yeho in, these were two different cities that, we worked in. And I worked with Zen first. And the one thing that I told him is I would love for the guitar to almost play around the vocal elements of this and also the organ elements of it. And so I really enjoy hearing the licks and things that he put in there. And I think if we were just to strip this song down to guitar and organ, you can hear that there's some kind of almost like they're having a conversation. So that's really great to hear. And then, of course, adding bass and adding my friend Yeho on bass just gave it that final foundation that it absolutely needed. And actually, Yeho was the last part of putting this together, of course, outside of the work that I did with Marty in the studio space. The other thing that I want to point out is my trumpet playing. Talking in episode 3 about playing trumpet and it being one of those instruments that I've played for so long and, set down for a little while, picked up a little while. At this point in what would have been 2022 when I was recording this, I had picked up the horn for the first time in a long while and really decided that I wanted to just go for it. And luckily my chops were there. They held me. They held the sound that I wanted. And then when I recorded it by myself and listened back, I could hear the elements of RH Project, Roy Hargrove's project, and thinking that, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. There's like a lot of different stylistic elements that are at play here. There's the bluesiness, the funkiness of it that's going on. And I'm just really, really happy with the way that Marty and I stitched this together and thinking about how much all of the instruments, when they're together, they stand out. Sometimes there can be like this cacophony, you're not quite sure what to listen to, but I think the ways in which we like mesh everything together really did all of the different voices justice. So when you're like really zeroed in on the horn part, you're like, okay, I can hear those influences. Or when you're zeroed in on the background ad-libs and vocals and things like that, you're like, okay, I can hear those influences. I can hear how they are helping to tell the story, which is always, in my opinion, what you want when you are creating a project. You want the elements to all fit into the story, not to distract or detract or whatever the case may be. I kind of want to leave it there. Like I said, we're not talking much about the lyrics because I covered that already in the episode 3, the 2018 version of this. So again, feel free if you're interested in what the lyrics are and kind of like the cheekiness that I was going for. I highly encourage you to go back to episode 3. For both versions, the 2018 and the 2023, I will link those below so you can hear them both kind of back to back and hear, okay, I think I see where you were going with this, like how much it evolved over the course of those 5 years. That is my hope at the very least. But I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining this journey. I'm going to leave it at that. Next week, we'll move on to episode 14. Be well, and I will see you soon.